new for 2078. PlayStation 9's new electronic spores tap straight into your adrenal gland.
The beginning. The third place. The only place to play. Live in your world. Play in ours. Fun, anyone? Nothing keeps hold of my childhood memories tight more than the PlayStation 2. This is the very first console my parents bought with its sexy black box exterior and a controller so good, nothing compares. Heck, it's even the best selling console ever with over 150 million units sold. Whether if you're playing on the original black box, the slim model, or to those few people living in Europe, a frickin' TV with the PlayStation 2 built in. Whatever you're playing on, it was a great time to play some Grand Theft Auto, Need for Speed, Final Fantasy, Soul Calibur, Shrek 2, or use it as a cheap DVD player so you can watch Shrek 2. Or Big Trouble in Little China, whatever works. So what games did I grow up with this supreme Sony system? Did I have the pleasure of playing Jak and Daxter, Ratchet & Clank, Burnout, Persona, Kingdom Hearts, Shadow of Colossus, Devil May Cry, Star Wars Battlefront, or Tekken? The answer? Nope. Come on, I was fucking 2.5 years old when this beast hit the scene in March 4th, 2000. Then around 4 when we have it along with Gran Turismo 3, which actually came with the glorious red cover. Yeah. But it's not like I was living underneath a rock all this time. I used to play my uncle's black Nintendo 64 along with Top Gear Overdrive on a small CRT TV in my grandmother's house, along with Gex, A Bug's Life, and Legend of Zelda, to name a few. If the Nintendo 64 was the key, the PS2 was the ignition that started my gaming prowess. Before you ask, yes, I do have some mainstream games now and back then. The games I grew up with are mostly hidden gems and guilty pleasures. Since this is the definitive console that truly got me into gaming, I think it's time to make something special. Something bigger than my previous 3 Hidden Gems episodes. I'm gonna make a top 20 of my favorite PlayStation 2 gems. This format is going to be quite different because I am splitting the entire list into 20 individual parts. Possibly 21 if we're lucky. The odd reason for this is that 1, I got an actual job now, you know, the one that doesn't involve demonetization and shit. 2, it saves me a lot more time. And 3, if I compile the entire list together, it will be quite long. More like an hour long, I suppose. And it's going to be quite boring. Alongside that the list is going to be special, this is going to be a lot more genuine than the previous 3 since I've actually played all of them on 100% pure grade A PS2 hardware. This is also the very first list I get to use the capture card. Yeah, it's not much, but I'm not bothering to get an Elgato because of budgetary reasons. It's also a pain in the ass when Sony Vegas couldn't accept MKV files, so I had to sit like 10 hours of wait just to convert the selected footage per segment. But, complaining aside, let's bust a move and get it started, cause time's wasting. So let's start this odyssey at the very bottom. So far down that you need a shovel to dig. Mojo. Not Mojo Jojo, not JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, not Watch Mojo, Miss Mojo, Diet Mojo, just Mojo. It's a humble puzzle game developed by Farsight Studios, the same company who's famous for bringing you such classics like the Genesis version of Action 52 and Color a Dinosaur on NES. The game itself is surprisingly addicting though. So yeah, that was a great start, Mace. You just started a list on a piece of shovelware site. When do we get to see the good ones? Well, random anonymous guy, let's go back a few minutes ago to evaluate. The games I grew up with are mostly hidden gems and guilty pleasures. Mojo is one of my guilty pleasures. I was thinking about putting Malice on the list, but the game itself is so piss easy I never died once. Also, it ain't worth it, despite the legacy it holds. Now back to Mojo's Bizarre Adventure. Although this is the most basic game out there, I decided to put it on there because I personally enjoyed this game back then. You play as this marble when you have to destroy blocks. Simple, right? Well, the challenge is that you need to destroy blocks which are the same color as your little marble, and sometimes there are blocks you have to destroy last. You could change the colors of your ball by running over color generators or manually changing them, but you need to beat a level before a certain time to get them. The real challenge are the controls. If you play games where you play as a spherical object, you probably know that the balls have momentum. At least this game had some features to control the ball a bit better, like boosting and braking. Well, if you get that part of the way, there are 100 levels to pass through. There's also multiplayer and a level editor if you're into that. Interestingly, the file size for this game isn't very big, because it only holds 128 megabytes. The usual size for a PS2 disc holds 4.7 gigs of space. So that means the entire game carries less than 3% in the damn disc. Also meaning that you can stack like 36 copies of Mojo into one DVD, and you still have some space left. So I tried emulating this game using the PCSX2 emulator, and it runs surprisingly near flawless on my PC. Other games with a large file size could barely pass 20 when playing the game outside the menus. So yeah, I prefer emulating Mojo than getting a copy for a cheap price. Then again, you're probably getting yourself the ROMs I mentioned later on the list. But yeah, you may be bitching about using emulators and playing ROMs are bad, but the real question is, who's stopping you? Exactly. Besides, Mojo is basically abandonware when Crave bit the dust in 2012. So where's the problem in that?